So the theme for today that I chose is integrity. So the last 10 days, I think it's 10 days since I made the last video, I tend to try to want to talk about the things that show up in my world and that I recognize is the theme globally for many. Because integrity is closely linked to truth. It is closely linked to commitment and dedication, and it is what brings change about most quickly in my experience. And so integrity to me is becoming whole, to walk our talk, to have consistent thoughts, emotions, words, actions, priorities, that everything that we do holds the same vibration. So that we don't go around with our inner world being something completely different than what we're actually showing the world. And obviously, for many reasons, there might be a lot of fear and blockages that tend to inhibit us from actually holding integrity in our being. To not be committed to telling truth or to have an open throat chakra and to be honest and authentic. There's a ton of reasons and a lot of programming and conditioning from the moment we were born. But that is still not an excuse to not reflect and contemplate around these things when we come into awareness. A higher awareness around what that means, integrity. When I talk about the ascension path, I usually divide it into 3 phases just to make it easy, to make it a bit more digestible. And the first phase is always the awakening, becoming aware of how this game of life works and what the dynamics are, what the rules of the game are. So it's not written rules, it's more how energy works. Basically coming into awareness of how energy works and how we create our reality. And in that awakening phase, we will also understand a lot how this world is operating and what is illusions and what is truth. And yeah, that's a big topic, a big going down the rabbit hole for many. But once we've done that and kind of gotten an overview over how this world actually works and what is actually an illusion and what is truth, then we start our inner journey, which is the liberation phase. I call it the liberation phase because it's basically liberating ourselves from our inner prison, our inner lies and delusions and programming and the conditioning patterns that we have stuck to our whole lives, and maybe from other lifetimes as well, and certainly from our ancestral lineages. So in the liberation phase, that is when we turn our lens inwards instead of all the time looking outside there, what is going on out there. We turn our perspective inwards so that we can change from within. And this is where we start to build our integrity. We start to close the gap between the vibration of our thoughts, of our actions, of our emotions, of our physical body, our cellular memory, and so that everything becomes consistent. So when everything becomes consistent, we are radiating more and more consistent vibrations from our being. And so the more we come into union within, which is the masculine, feminine, divine aspects, really unifying all of our higher levels and allowing that expression to flow and radiate through our being at all times. It sounds like this is a short, like, let's just do that. It's a long, deep, multi-layered journey that can take years and years and years. The ascension journey starts with the awakening, when you come into the awareness, and then the liberation phase, where you look at all your traumas and conditionings and patterns and wounds from childhood, inner child healing, all of these aspects that needs to be properly addressed, and that can also take a lot of time. Time is not relevant, it's more the dedication and the commitment to actually allowing for that to happen, which takes, it requires space and time. But on the other side of that, well, it's an endless journey, but the embodiment phase is something completely different. That's when you really are going to take the training wheels off, you know, when you're going to walk your talk. And that requires a lot from a human being who is used to choosing safety first, choosing from survival mode, having fear as the driver of the operating system. Still, I want to share today about integrity, because even if you start with the smallest things in your life, like just committing to brush your teeth every morning and evening, take a shower, to keep your physical hygiene, you know, all these small things, and then you expand and expand and expand. And for most of you that are listening now, it is about the spiritual hygiene. It is about the spiritual expression that is going to flow through you, flow through us as a collective. And this expression needs to be in integrity. It needs to be whole. It needs to be authentic. And so eventually we will only read energy. We will see our physical expressions, but it doesn't really, it's kind of just a flesh suit. So everything is about energy. Everything is about the energy that you radiate. And if that is compromised, if, for example, you have thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, and doing something completely different behind the scenes, within you, or behind the scenes, hidden from what you portray or show yourself as, it will not be possible to hide that, because the energy comes first. Energy speaks first, and then all the other expressions come, either to confirm what people have already felt and intuited, that they feel what you are all about, or it will create confusion in the field. It will create distortions, and that is what we have today. A world full of distortions, full of illusions, full of delusions, full of lies, white lies, not always intended for keeping people in the dark, but it's a lot of that. But on the personal level, I think most of us are just so conditioned to hide our true selves, and also not being truly aware of our true selves in the beginning. And this is why this journey is basically an unraveling of who you are in truth, and always coming back to that integrity, and always coming back to this fact that you cannot get past that proper, lasting, real change. It happens from within. So you're just kind of fooling yourself if you're going around showing yourself as something. Because when people are going through the awakening and the liberation start in that, suddenly there's so many aha moments, and you think that, oh, now I can teach about this, I can be a guide, I can be a coach, I can be a therapist, I can be this and that. And yes, absolutely, we're all here to be way showers, but that is the word I wanted to say, because we are way showers. We can show the way and share from our own experience. But I feel that at this time, it is so important that anyone that we all have integrity enough to not sharing things that we don't have direct experience with. that we're not living ourselves, because that creates just more distortions collectively, and also inhibiting us on a personal level from actually ascending at the proper pace that is actually there for us. So that takes commitment, and obviously not everyone is ready for the kind of commitment to go all the way, because the qualities that the New Earth templates, they hold certain qualities to them that we all will embody when the time comes. It's like pillars and frequencies of a software system that holds qualities such as gratitude, peace, love, harmony, discernment, divine neutrality, and integrity, sovereignty. So all of these qualities, they are obviously something that we need to practice. They just don't appear by themselves if we're not already incarnated as ascended masters, which there are very few. So this is something that we need to practice and commit to and do every day, in every situation, every encounter we have with other human beings, every life situation. And it can take quite a while, because we're usually not ready to do it all at once. Very few have that capability. But to see ourselves as capable, and to see ourselves as master creator beings, that we can actually change things in a matter of actually seconds and minutes if we actually dedicate to it. That is important, because things, they don't have to take years. It's really a matter of commitment and creating space for that to happen, and to create enough space within to receive the new light that is anchoring in as soon as you dedicate to actually, let's say, start just telling truth. That you all the time you tell truth while being kind, with discernment. Not that you should just say everything that is on your mind, because your mind might not be completely balanced. So truth telling is not just saying whatever you want to and hurting people. It's learning about yourself and being whole and authentic in your expression, and also allowing yourself to say I don't know, allowing yourself to take some time and create some space for you to find out if you don't know. And opinions is also a big part of that, because opinions are really not relevant for anyone, at least if not ourselves. You don't have to have an opinion about anything. You can have preferences. You can choose and prioritize according to what you want. But having opinions about others or about yourself is really just judgment. And judgment is the third dimensional expression of discernment, which is the fifth dimensional expression of it. Discernment is being able to tell things apart, that this is that and this is that. This is blue, this is red. Judgment is having an opinion about whether it's blue or red, or all other different kinds of examples. Okay, it's getting super hot here, so I'm gonna wrap it up. But my biggest advice, or I don't want to call it advice. So my biggest invitation at this time is to invite everyone that is watching, if you feel the calling to have an accelerated path on the ascension path, raising your vibration so that you can create and access a higher vibrational reality where there is not chaos and things falling apart, but that you have created because you dedicated yourself to that. You committed to changing yourself from within so that you are able to attract a different reality experience from the outside. That is how creation happens. So basically, through committing to whatever qualities you find important, by actually committing and dedicating and being that in extended parts of the day, your field will be more and more and more consistent, so that the manifestation of that higher vibration will reflect back to you, and that will be your everyday experience. And that requires some time for the body, because the body is always the last to pick up on the new templates. Usually we learn it through experience and through mental concepts, and then it needs to have a process and an integration phase. And then eventually, you start doing it and you catch yourself, oh, I wasn't quite in my integrity there. I was kind of saying something and doing something else, or thinking something and doing something else. But then eventually you will see, wow, I was able to actually do that and be that. And that gives a certain feeling of mastery, feeling of courageousness, and the feeling of actually going beyond human ego mind needs and desires. It's a theme right now for many to handle the emotions that surface when we are on this path of embodiment. And it's likened to, if you have ever been on a fast, or let's say if you're hungry. If you're hungry, that's just a feeling in the body. And the moment you start having opinions and judging and analyzing, it's for a few days, it's not dangerous to be hungry. It's just a feeling. So it's about tolerating uncomfortable feelings. It's the same as if you're sick. If you're throwing up and you have diarrhea, it's a horrible experience. It can be a horrible experience. For me, that's the worst. So purging is usually quite uncomfortable, but usually it's not dangerous. It's just something we have to deal with. We have to tolerate it. We have to handle it. And on the other side, there might be situations that you find yourself in that you tolerate, and maybe you have tolerated them for a lot of years, and it's actually something that you should perhaps look at. And should I tolerate? Should I just continue being in a situation where my body and everything is telling me that this is not good for me, or this is not aligned with who I am? I'm not in my integrity staying in this situation, or in this relationships, or in this job. So basically training ourselves to tolerate more of emotional discomfort. That is a very good skill to have when you're on the embodiment path, because it will challenge you emotionally, mentally, physically. And often you will just have to tell your ego to take the back seat. Yes, I hear you, I see you, I feel you, but I'm still gonna do this. Just like we parent our children, we have to parent ourselves through the discomfort so that we are able to step into mastery and commitment to something we know on a soul level that is better for us. And not even calling it better, it's more complementary for our journey. If we want to experience a life that holds more quality to it. And you are the only one who can tell what quality is for you. And of course also on a collective level, on a global level, if all of us as individuals can create an up-leveled life experience with more quality to all the content of it and the expressions of it, then that's the world that we will eventually create together. So integrity is incredibly important on this journey, and the commitment to actually aligning and closing the gap between all of our aspects, everything that we are, that we radiate out, that we broadcast one signal. One signal. Whatever we choose that to be.